Hey everyone, and welcome back to Wealthy Brains. We already knew that Chamath Palihapitiya, ex Facebook executive and founder and partner of the Social Plus Capital Partnership, was bullish on Bitcoins. But how bullish? He actually owns the equivalent of 5 million in Bitcoins, representing one of the largest positions in the world with the Winklevoss twins. But that's not all. Palihapitiya wants to own even more than that, up to 10 to 15 million. He didn't say whether he counts on an increase in value of bitcoins or whether he will start right away to purchase more bitcoins. Palihapitiya seems to be very aware of the risks involved with betting on digital currency, but he is willing to take those risks. He already shares his thoughts about Bitcoin and why he believes it is a disruptive idea, but until now, we didn't know how much Bitcoin he actually owned. Among the reasons why he is bullish on Bitcoin, he cited the usual key advantages of the currency. It's an electronic peer to peer, mostly unregulated currency. Yet, he sees Bitcoin as a well crafted money protocol to remove any kind of friction. It is like what the TCP/IP protocol did to the internet. It enabled countless of innovations. As he now holds a significant position in Bitcoins, expect Palihapitiya to talk more about the cryptocurrency. He could become one of the most prominent advocates for the digital currency. Just like he loves poker because it reminds him of how startups work, Bitcoin has a level of risk that he must find fascinating. Chamath Palihapitiya, the deep-pocketed brain behind tech investment fund Social Capital, started investing in Bitcoin nearly a decade ago. We don't know yet how exactly and how much Bitcoin Palihapitiya owns, but it's not a small bet. I was the one that backed up the truck in 2012 on Bitcoin, Palihapitiya said in a recent interview with Bloomberg. Last year, he joked about buying the Hamptons when Bitcoin hits 150,000 per share, converting the upscale vacationing spot into sleepaway camps for kids, working farms, and low-costing houses. All jokes aside, the man clearly believes in Bitcoin as an investment vehicle. The master investor's Bitcoin vision. Let's start with a broader look at how Palihapitiya thinks about Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is very important because it just shows the fragility of the traditional financial infrastructure. He said later in the Bloomberg interview, if you just look at the quantity or the size of the M2 money supply as an example, the real question I think people should be asking ourselves is, okay, Bitcoin becomes a de facto reserve currency that basically displaces gold. But what replaces the US dollar? In his view, Bitcoin's long-term role will be as a value store to rival or replace gold, while so-called stablecoins take over the dollar's place as an everyday currency for transactions, paychecks, tax payments, and so forth. By simply making that small abstraction are able to completely build financial rails that didn't exist before, on-ramps and off-ramps for trading to assets management to banking to payments processing, Palihapitiya said. He sees Bitcoin as the canary in the coal mine for a new financial reality that's mostly virtual and anonymous. The digital revolution will start likely in emerging economies where the government issued fiat currency is unstable and banking systems are unreliable, eventually spreading across developed countries as well. The outspoken CEO of Silicon Valley Fund Social Capital recently disclosed that his investment firm has owned Bitcoin since 2013. Bitcoin, which came into the scene in 2009, was the first decentralized peer-to-peer payment network built in no central authority. Think of it as cash for the internet, where no government has any control over supply and there are no middlemen between transactions. It's no surprise that something like this has been targeted by law enforcement, scrutinized by business leaders, and received growing interest from investors and the general public alike. Palihapitiya, one of the biggest proponents of this new digital currency, doesn't shy away from voicing his opinions on the subject. Here are the 3 reasons why he loves Bitcoin. Number 1. It's a hedge against the financial system. With the unprecedented amount of fiscal and monetary stimulus in developed countries since the great financial crisis a decade ago, Palihapitiya views Bitcoin as a hedge against massive money printing. Because Bitcoin supply is fixed, there is no structural risk of a single party devaluing the currency. As interest rates in many countries remain close to or even below zero for the near future, higher levels of inflation are expected. This means that the fiat currency we own will lose value over time, which is not something new. But with record levels of global debt that continues to grow, it seems interest rates will need to stay low to continue allowing governments to function. How long can massive amounts of borrowing go on? That remains to be seen. So Palihapitiya says to view Bitcoin as schmuck insurance for global uncertainty. Our leaders are not as trustworthy and reliable as they used to be, Palihapitiya declared in a recent CNBC interview. Furthermore, his perspective is strengthened by the fact that his cryptocurrency is not really correlated to any other asset. Number 2, it's electronic, peer-to-peer, and mostly unregulated. As I previously alluded to, Bitcoin is completely electronic, has no intermediaries, and is governed by no one but just its users. Just as the TCP/IP protocol laid the foundation for the internet by creating a common way for computers to communicate with each other, Palihapitiya believes Bitcoin and cryptocurrency can reduce friction and democratize the transfer of things of value without large financial institutions getting in the way. In other words, it's a way for any type of asset to all be linked to each other. Most innovation takes place outside the realm of regulation, and Bitcoin is no different. It takes a person as tech savvy as Palihapitiya to truly understand and appreciate the disruptive properties of cryptocurrency. The lack of a regulatory framework has paved the way for various companies to innovate extensively in the cryptocurrency space. Number 3, he has a chance to become an expert in this space. As if being a successful venture capital investor wasn't enough, Palihapitiya wants Bitcoin to be one of the 4 or 5 things that I now become an expert in again. If he didn't believe in the technology, he wouldn't put in the time and effort needed to become a thought leader and advocate in the space. In addition to owning Bitcoin, his firm, Social Capital, has made an investment in cryptocurrency security startup, Crypto Move, giving him a first-hand look at the future products and services that will be vital in the space. Bitcoin is slowly gaining traction as a method of payment acceptance for many large companies. In order for it to become a truly global currency that many are betting on, it will need more supporters willing to stick their necks out and promote its merits. Palihapitiya hopes to keep being just that. The takeaway for potential investors: Palihapitiya thinks everyone should have 1% of their assets in the cryptocurrency for the reasons outlined above. If it works out and gains worldwide adoption, even in some minor form, it can potentially be worth many multiples higher than the current price. Investors may have many options to purchase Bitcoin these days, such as from a digital currency exchange like Coinbase, or even in their PayPal or Square Cash app account. Whether you believe in cryptocurrency or not, it no longer can be ignored. Palihapitiya is a big believer, and maybe you should be too. Risk versus reward. Bitcoin's market cap is hovering around $1 trillion mark these days, which is far cry from the 9.3 trillion value of the world's gold supply. The leading cryptocurrency would match the total value of gold at a price of roughly 500,000 per share. Hence, Palihapitiya's vision leaves room for another tenfold Bitcoin price jump. It sounds crazy to ignore that kind of wealth building opportunity. That is all for today, folks. Would you like to add anything to this list? Let us know in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are new. And I'll see you all in the next video.